choosing our fabric colors, cutting, pinning, and sewing. And then we'll talk about how to price your garment. So the things you will need are all on this piece. There are pins on here, so don't poke yourself. This is an elastic that you need, minimum 1 inch, because it feels the most comfortable around the waist. 2 pins to pull your elastic through the hole we'll make at the end. This is just a view of how the elastic will look when it's stuck to the other side and how strong that bond is when you sew. This is a sample of the type of fabric you need. This is a sample of the type of ribbon you need, and we'll talk about what the different ends mean. And this is another example of the different designs we can put on it. So I'll just pass this around. So we're going to go into our little book, and we're going to start off with step 1. Oh, did I give you one, Jane? Okay. We're going to start off with step 1, and that's going to be measuring our waist. So when you measure your waist, that doesn't necessarily just mean right here or down here. That's wherever you want your waist to be. So if you want a skirt that goes right up here, then that's going to be your waist measurement. If you want one that goes right here, that'll be your waist. So you'll take a tape measure, or if you don't have a tape measure, you just get a piece of string or a shoelace and tie it around you and hold it, and then just measure it on a ruler. I always like my ribbon skirts right here, kind of right where my belly button is, because I feel like that's like an okay leg. Measure. And then when you get that measurement, I'm going to send that around so you guys can do measurements. When you get the waist measurement, you'll divide that, you'll add half of that measurement. So if your measurement's 40, you'll add 20 to 40, and that's what the back sheet of paper for. And then you'll divide that whole number, which will be 60, you'll divide that by 4, and that'll be your waist measurement, that smallest amount. So on my example, I have 30 plus 15, 45, and then 45 divided by 4 is 11.25, and that's your waist measurement. And when we do our length, you'll just measure how long you want it. So if you want it to end at your knees, then that's where you'll measure from wherever your hip was, wherever your hip measurement down to your knee, or if you want it to end at your ankles, or just whatever your length is, measure that out. I did 32 because it's from my belly button to my ankles, and I like that length. And that is this length. This is an example of a ribbon skirt that I made. And to that, we're going to add 3 inches for something called seam allowances on skirts. So seam allowances are at the bottom of the skirt, that little fold over, and the little casing we're going to make for the elastic that we put through. All right, so if you're following along, we are now on the basic ribbon skirt fabric step 1. So after you get that, you pick your material, and your material is going to be this one, and that's a cotton material. It's the easiest to begin sewing with. And what you're going to do is you're going to get 3 yards of cotton material. You're going to find the bottom of the material, which is usually kind of looks like a sample of a print, and you're going to fold it out. And then we're going to fold it in half once, and we're going to fold it again, and we're on step 4 now. So we're going to make sure the double fold is facing towards us. And then we're going to measure along the top of the skirt, our waist, which is 11.25. And then we're going to measure on the bottom, we're going to add 3 inches to the 11. So we're going to measure 11.25 out, and it's best to use a ruler like this. And this is a sewing ruler. There's a lot of stuff stuck on the bottom. But this is a sewing ruler, and the reason why we use this is when we're measuring out on a piece of fabric, it's really hard to not know what's straight, and this kind of helps you square up along with these. Lines in the square really helps. And the next thing, after we fold, we're going to cut and we're going to make lines. So when we make lines, we're either going to use a fabric marker, color pencils, or a pen. I think it's easiest if we use color pencils or chalk because it can rub off if we mess up. And there's 2 types of scissors we can use, a pinking shears or regular scissors. Pinking shears make this zigzag, and if you can see the difference between this end of the ribbon and this end's frayed, which means fabric's coming off. And when the ribbon's frayed, it's really hard to stop that. So we're going to use a pinking shears anytime we make a cut on the fabric. And this is the pinky and shears, the zigzag one versus the straight shears. And that just protects your fabric and makes it a lot easier for sewing. And after we sew and we make our lines with our ruler, we're gonna measure out our waist, which is 11. We're gonna measure down the length, which is 32. And we're gonna add 4 inches for our walk to the waist. So when we add our 4 inches, that's what's gonna allow the skirt to come out at the bottom, which kind of allows you for your walk. Because if you just make it 11 and 11, you're gonna have a super tight skirt and you're gonna have to walk like a geisha everywhere, which is not fun. So, after we make those cuts, we're gonna get 2 fabric sides that look like this. And we're gonna lay one to the side because we're not gonna use it. And then we're gonna cut our ribbon. And when we cut our ribbon, you'll measure it out. Just make sure it goes at least an inch outside of your skirt. Lay it flat. Cut as many of those. You can use any size ribbon, any color. As long as it looks like this, and this is called satin double face or satin single face. That's when one side's shiny and one side's not. So you can tell there's a back and the front. And there's 2 ways we can attach our ribbon to our skirt, and that's pinning or using this, which is a sewing, it's like a sewing glue. It doesn't clog up your machines. You don't have pins poking you because when you're sewing on a machine, you gotta think your pins are coming up facing your machine. You're sitting there and they're gonna poke you. So if you use sewing glue, it's like 10 times easier. You can take it off and move it. It doesn't gum up your machine, so it's not like regular glue. It kind of comes out like a little fiber. And then we're on step 8, and we're moving on to step 9, or to step 10. So after you've cut your ribbon, you're gonna place it on however you decide to place it, whatever design you want or however many ribbons you want. And then we're gonna glue it or sew it. And then we take it to the machine, we sew it, we hem it up on the edges, which is what I said, where we fold it in and sew it on itself. And then after that, the finishing touch is taking care of your threads, which is something I didn't do on this skirt because I didn't have time. And also, it's just something you can do if you're gonna sell them. It just makes it look nicer if you take care of your, so there's not a bunch of extra threads laying around because threads get everywhere when you're sewing. And after that, we're gonna talk about pricing. So we finish our skirt, we put all the ribbons on it, and we put our elastic on. When we put our elastic on, we're gonna sew it up towards the edge, kind of fold it in on itself. And we're not gonna sew this last inch because we're gonna put one of these pins in and one out, and we're just gonna push it through. And then we sew them together using a zigzag stitch, and that's what makes this tight bond, and it doesn't rip easily. So it's good for kids or adults, and it kind of stands up the weather of time. And we use zigzag, not a straight stitch, because a straight stitch will come out, versus a zigzag is kind of stronger once it's zigzagged over itself. So we're done making our skirt. We cut all the threads. We have everything ready. So the next thing we're gonna do, if we're selling it, is we're gonna work on pricing. So how we price our garment is, you gotta think your thread, let's say it's $2 a yard and you got 3 yards, so that's $6 for your fabric. So $6 plus your ribbon, let's say you have 2 ribbons on there and they're $5 bundles, so that's, what was that, $16. So then you also gotta put time and effort, so it's not gonna take you that long. If it's your first time, it'll probably take you a couple hours, so let's say 5 hours. Minimum wage, let's pretend it's $10. So total now we have around $50 to $60. And if you wanna make a profit, we can add up to $20. You can add more, but I like just to do 20 because as a max, because I'm in like a moral thing, I'm not gonna charge somebody like $200 for something that took me an hour to make, and like total $50. But I always like to charge like no more than $20. And then what I do is I fold them up. Whoop, I fold it in half, and then I fold that half in half, and then I fold that one, and I fold it so the ribbons are on the outside. And what I do with the paper is I just get some cheap tissue paper from Dollar Tree or wherever, and I I fold it kind of like a Subway sandwich. So if you ever been to Subway, just watch them. And then I get the little bags from the Dollar Tree, and I put my business card in there, put that in there, charge them whatever they want, because that's presentation, you know, if you're selling something, I would rather give them a little tiny gift than here's your skirt and done, pay me, and walk away. So again, you just need 2 yards of fabric, any color ribbon you want, string if you don't have, yeah, and I forgot, a tape measure if you don't have one of those, and 1-inch thick elastic, and a sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can do this by hand. It will take longer, but it's cheaper if you do it by hand. If you do it by hand, I would charge more because there's ultimately going to be more effort into it. It's going to take you more than an hour to do it versus if you do it with a machine. And it's just a good way to make money. It's a good way to kind of keep a thing of sewing clothes alive because I think we should make more clothes. And it's just a nice hobby to have. And that's my presentation.